Welcome to 21st Sports Recap and Reaction for the Chicago Bears at the Seattle Seahawks in their Week 3 matchup from September 27, 2015. We're going to go over the scores and the stats and give our breakdown and analysis. Let's get started in the first quarter. With about 5 minutes left in the first, Steven Hauschka put the first points on the scoreboard with a 31-yard field goal that made it 3-0 Seattle over Chicago. That was the score after 1 quarter of play. And as the first half was coming to a close, Hauschka added another field goal, a 21-yarder, and it was 6-0 at the half. Then in the third quarter, Tyler Lockett ran back the opening kickoff 105 yards for the touchdown, and with the extra point by Hauschka, it was 13-0 Seahawks over the Bears. Then with about 4.5 minutes still left in the third, Russell Wilson hit Jimmy Graham for a 30-yard touchdown. Hauschka added the extra point, and it was now 20-0 Seahawks over the Bears. That was the score after 3. Then a minute into the fourth quarter, Hauschka hit his third field goal of the game, this one from 45 yards out, and it was 23-0 Seattle over Chicago. Then with a little over 6 minutes left, Hauschka added his fourth field goal, this one from 48 yards, and it was 26-0, as that would remain the score as the Seahawks shut out the Bears, and they win their first game of the year, and they're undefeated in Seattle in front of the 12s. So the Seahawks get the win, Cam is back, and they get the shutout as the Boom was back in the secondary in the Legion of Boom. And Russell Wilson in this game, 20 for 30, 235 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Beast mode, Marshawn Lynch left the game at halftime. He had just 5 carries for 14 yards and 1 reception for 9 yards. But Rawls had 104 yards for Thomas Rawls, the rookie from Central Michigan. And he had that 104 yards off of 16 carries in this game. And we look at Jimmy Clausen for the Bears, just 9 of 17 for 63 passing yards. Matt Forte had 20 carries for 74 yards. He also he didn't actually have any receptions. This is a bad day for the offense of the Bears, as they're 0-3 now, and teams that start 0-3 only make the playoffs 2% of the time. And the Seahawks, on the other hand, they're now 1-2, as they're looking to get their record back to 500. They took a step in the right direction, and next week they can get to 2-2. They will be at 500 at that point. Of course, getting a little ahead of ourselves. In this game, Hauschka, though, was excellent. 4 for 4 on the field goals, 2 for 2 on the extra points, and there was no kicks attempted for the Bears. They did not attempt a field goal, and of course, obviously, they didn't attempt any extra points. They didn't score any points, so they wouldn't get any extra ones, would they? McPhee had 2 sacks for the Bears. Jenkins had 2 sacks as well, as they were putting some pressure on Russell Wilson, but it didn't affect him too much. Of course, that was partially why they only had 6 points in the first half, but they scored another 20 in the second half, so they finished the game strong. Averill had a sack for Seattle, and Wagner and Bruce Irvin combined for a sack, as they each had a half a sack. The Seahawks had 17 first downs in this game, just 7 first downs for the Bears, as they had the least first downs of any team this week in Week 3. Just a really pathetic performance by the Bears offense. Of course, a very strong performance by Seattle's defense, pitching that shutout. And on third downs, the Bears converted just 3 of 13 for a 23% conversion rate. The Seahawks 5 of 16, converting 31% of their third downs. The Seahawks were also 2 for 2 on fourth downs. They were 100% when they went for it on fourth. And total net yards, the Seahawks just dominated the Bears. 371 to 146 for Chicago. And on the ground, the Seahawks netted 159 yards, 98 for the Bears. Through the air, the Seahawks had more than 4 times as many net yards, 212, even though Russell Wilson was sacked 4 times, losing 23 yards. The Bears netted only 48 passing yards, as Clausen was sacked twice for a loss of 15 total yards. And we look at the penalties, not too many really in this game, especially compared to all the other games this week, as these two teams combined for only 11 penalties, 6 for Chicago, 5 for Seattle, 40 yards penalized for the Bears, 41 for the Seahawks. And in the red zone, there was no scoring in the red zone in this game, as the Bears didn't score and they didn't get into the red zone. They had 0 red zone opportunities, as the Seahawks defense kept them out of the red zone. They didn't even attempt a field goal. On the other hand, the Seahawks, they had 4 for 4 on the field goals, 0 for 2 in the red zone, as they were not able to come away with any red zone touchdowns. But they did have the time of possession, 32 minutes and 36 seconds to 27 minutes and 24 seconds for Chicago. And they got some big plays, especially that 105-yard kick return by Tyler Lockett that really set the tone. Already, they had the shutout going 6-0, but when Lockett, when he ran that one back, that really put momentum just solidly on the side of Seattle. Then when Jimmy Graham got that touchdown, the only touchdown of the game by an offense in this game, as we saw, the touchdown on the special teams, and then the touchdown by Jimmy Graham, which was a 30-yard touchdown pass from Russell Wilson, and of course the 4 field goals by Hauschka. Hauschka being one of the better kickers in the league, probably one of the more underrated kickers when you consider that he kicks in Seattle, which can get pretty windy. It's not the Windy City, that's Chicago, but in Seattle it gets pretty windy as well, and it's also, very rainy. It can be very moist in the air, and Hauschka is very solid, and he's consistent. He came through pretty big time in this game for the Seahawks. A couple of 40-plus field goals, 45-plus yard field goals, and 4 for 4, 2 for 2 on the extra points. So a dominant performance by the Seahawks. They get back Cam, and they've got that energy, and they really came out with a big win here, even though Chicago, without Jay Cutler, and, they were without Alshon Jeffrey, without Kevin White, they had a lot of people that weren't there. But even still, 26-0 is pretty much the definition of domination. Is they got the shutout with the defense. They said they didn't even have any scores attempted by Chicago. Only 63 passing yards for Clausen. I mean, they just dominated the Bears in this one. So let me know what you think in the comments section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you had a good day and a great weekend and enjoyed all the sports.